Alright, special request video from my man Robert, Iceland, Brazeda. All you cool cats from third block, my favorite class I've ever had in my life. What was it y'all wanted again? Oh yeah. Solving for a side with trig, and you want me to use the DeltaMath calculator, okay? And Andrea, y'all are awesome guys. I'm serious. Well, let's get started on it right quick. So I've got this DeltaMath problem right here on the document cam, and it says in triangle XYZ, the measure of angle Z is 90 degrees. Well, no kidding, we can see the symbol there. And the measure of angle X is 57 degrees, and XY equals 8 feet. The segment XY equals 8 feet. Find the length of YZ to the nearest tenth of a foot. Tenth of a foot, so we're going to do some rounding. So let's just jump right in. We have to decide what trig function we're going to use. Which trig function? And so I'm just going to list them real quick. I use this little memory trick called SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA. And this reminds me that sine adjacent. So these are my three These are my three primary trig functions. Get things lined back up here. And so I got to figure out which ones I'm going to use, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my reference angle. It's down here. Now it could have been up here, but it ain't. It's down here, okay? And I'm going to label, based on where this angle is, I'm going to label my sides and my hypotenuse. Now the hypotenuse never changes. It's always the furthest away from the right angle, and it's always the longest side. So I'm going to label that HYP for hypotenuse. Okay? Then I'm going to take this reference angle, this is the angle that we're using, and I'm going to draw a line all the way, because I'm realizing that this is the side opposite, the opposite side of my reference angle. Opposite. And then down here, here's my lonely adjacent side. That's the side that touches the reference angle. There's no value, there's no variable, there's no number, there's no shiz whatsoever down here on this side. Okay, so that means when it comes to adjacent, I can't use it. I cannot use a trig function that's got adjacent in it because it ain't got nothing. No variable, no side value, no nothing. So I come over here, oh, there's an adjacent. Oh, here's an adjacent. Can't use those because I ain't got nothing to put in that fraction. So cosine and tangent are out. That means I'm using sine. And I can test it to make sure that I have a variable or a number in for my opposite and my hypotenuse. And I go here, oh, here's my opposite, variable x, check. Here's my hypotenuse, value 8, check. So I'm going to use sine. But now how do I use it? Well, let's see what we got going here. Okay, so here's how we use it. I'm going to say, look, man, the sine, and I'm going to write it just like this, but down here. The sine of 57 degrees equals what? It equals my opposite, which is x, over my hypotenuse, which is 8. X over 8. Okay, that's how you set up the equation. You set it up the same way for everything you do. Okay? Now I know y'all know, I tell y'all in class all the time, I got 7 kids and I hear some in the background in there. It is impossible to get the house to be quiet, so I just got to tolerate that background noise. Alright, before I go up in there and you know, snatch electrical plugs out of computers and stuff and kick people off League of Legends and whatever. I don't want to do all that, it's too late at night. So let's just tolerate the noise and keep going here. Alright, so we got our equation. Now we're going to solve algebraically for x. We're going to solve algebraically for x. The first thing I'm going to do is multiply this by the denominator. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. Okay, x times 8, and then turn around and divide it by 8 just leaves me with x. And over here I have 8 times the sine of 57 degrees. Okay, that equals x. So literally at this point, all I got to do is put in the calculator 8 times the sine of 57 degrees, and I'll have my answer. I'll have my answer of what the length of x is. So now I'm going to switch to the, if I can figure out how to do this, I'm going to switch. Here we go. I'm going to switch to the calculator. It's 8 times the sine of 57 degrees equals x. So I'm going to get the dot cam out of the way here. I've increased the screen size so I can kind of show you what's going on and how we use the calculator. Let's see. I have to scroll up and press the calculator button up here, and my calculator pops up. Okay. Then I'm going to just type, you see the cursor down here by the calculator symbol. And let me recall it one more time. Remember, it's 8 times the sine of 57 degrees. Let me minimize that, get out of the way. So I'm going to type 8. I'm going to click on 8 and see it pops up over here. Times, I don't have any trig functions, so I press functions and up come my trig functions. Sine, then I press back to go back to numbers. 5, 7, close my parentheses, and see I've got it over here, 8 times the sine of 57. And I come over here and I just press enter. And all the way over here on the right, here's my equation way over here, you know, way over here in Los Angeles. And then way over here in Atlanta, we've got the answer way across here, 6.0709. That is the actual length of my segment. But now, how do I put that in as an answer? I'm gonna scroll down to my box, and it said to the nearest tenth of a foot. So you look at the number to the right, don't look at any of these other numbers, look at the number to the right of the tenths places, it says 0. So it's gonna be 6.7. 6.7, I click in here and I type 6.7, right? And then I just press submit answer. And look, are you sure? Well, yeah, I'm sure. Ding! I get the green check. Okay? So, let me figure out how to stop the recording.